What's going on, guys? Millett here, DISAPPEARANCES. Welcome back to another Scratchy episode of this channel. I got another one for you today, guys, and this one is just as creepy as all the rest. You know, I try to keep it creepy and interesting for you to even try to listen to. This one is actually a very fresh case. We're talking like 2017 fresh, and this happened back in May 5th, I believe. So it's very fresh, this year. The story is about a young man named Alexander Joseph Sevier. Okay, he was last seen in Portsmouth. Well, not in Portsmouth, but in Yosemite National Park. He actually was stationed in Portsmouth as he's a sailor at a medical center in Portsmouth. But now a sailor, now this is a sailor that was based in Portsmouth, who was last seen in Yosemite National Park a week ago. He didn't have a vehicle with him, and he left all his belongings at his campsite. And this is according to what the park officials had said. Now, rescue crews are searching for 24-year-old hospitalman Alexander Joseph Sevier, who works at Naval Medical Center in Portsmouth and was on leave last week. Now, Sevier was last seen the morning of May 3rd in the nearly 1,200 square mile park in California's Sierra Nevada mountains. He was supposed to report back to duty in Portsmouth on Monday, which will be today. Park spokesman Scott Gettyman said Sevier was supposed to check out of his campsite Saturday, but failed to do so. And he never boarded his scheduled flight from San Francisco on Sunday. Gettyman said after Sevier arrived in San Francisco, he took a train to another city and then rode a bus to the park where he was staying alone, which I always say it is a big mistake to do that. If you're going to go hiking, camping, jogging on a trail, it doesn't matter. You go with a group of people who are very trustworthy in your eyes as far as your friends would go, or even family members. You know, but when you go out there alone, you are vulnerable to the elements and vulnerable to whatever it is that's taking these people. Okay, so even if you're with a group, you don't want to stray away from them. I don't care if you're going into a bush, like maybe a couple of feet away from the campsite just to go take a piss in the bushes. I would have to do something in the area where I'm near the campsite and I can see my friends. But as soon as you're out of, line of sight of your friends or family, it always happens just like that, just that quick. Even if you're near the person, they turn their head and they turn back, boom, you're gone. That is just how quick these beings can do what they do. They come and take you within the snap of your finger. Just like with the D.O. Koontz story. His grandfather turned his head for a second. When he looked back, his grandson just vanished, without a trace. I totally believe that. I don't believe that the parents had anything to do with it because they were nowhere near the little boy. They was at a place where they could fish. Because they said that their son loves to fish. But anyway, in cases like these where people just vanish without a trace, even if they're alone, you never know what happens. And that's the worst part of everything dealing with these cases when people disappear. It's like there is no evidence to back up how they disappeared. They just go in and poof, they disappear. There's no evidence of them even being in the park sometimes. Even if their stuff is left at their campsite, they always seem to leave their stuff behind. I don't know why. It's like, okay, yeah, you don't want to be carrying any extra weight on you, like keys and wallets and all this stuff. You want to feel light as a feather when you're walking. You don't want to get, because it will weigh you down, even if it's something small but yet heavy still. But you want to feel light as a feather when you're going out there doing what you got to do. So I understand why they leave their stuff behind. They don't want to be dragging nothing that's going to weigh them down in any way, shape, or form. But when they do that and they leave their stuff there, they don't have a car, so they can't get nowhere but by foot. They go out there, and then all of a sudden, poof, you're gone. You disappear. And that's, like I said, that's the worst part about all this, because nobody knows how. They don't know why. They don't even know where. They just know they went in and they never came out. So that is the biggest upset, because you want to know what happened. You want to see what could have done this. You want to see if they walked into oblivion, or if Bigfoot picked them up and carried them off to someplace where they ate them alive, or whatever the case may be. You can come up with all the theories in the world, but if they don't want to be found, they're not going to be found. They've been doing this for hundreds of years. They've never been caught. They know what to do. They know how to get around us. They know how we think. So they know what to put out there for us to try and, they know what to put out there so that we can find it and just do nothing but speculate. They add these little extra stuff just to confuse us, just to throw us off track, so it won't lead us to who is really doing this or what is really doing this. But anyway. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah, okay. Let me see. Gettyman said after Sevier arrived in San Francisco, he took a train to another city and rode the bus to the park where he was staying alone. Gettyman said it's not uncommon for people to visit the park and hike by themselves. And yeah, it's not uncommon, but it's a very dangerous thing to do when you don't know what's out there. You come in there doing the same thing you've been doing for years, but that one time out of all those years, that's when you're taken. I don't know why they wait that long for you to be taken. I guess that throws people off. They want other people to think that you know what you're doing and you can come back home every single time you go out there into that park. And then that's when they take you. They wait 20, 30 years for you to get to gain experience and for them to realize that you know what you're doing, because you always come back home safe and sound. But then, right when they get that thought in their head, at that moment, when they go out there again for the final time, that's when they take them. They say, that's impossible. He's an expert. He's done this for years. He's been doing it since he was a kid. He knows what he's doing. Why, who took him? Why did they do this? That's the problem. That is the definite problem, because they know what they're doing, but they always seem to get taken either way. But, it's, like I said, it's the way it always happens. But anyway, let me see. Gettyman said the park doesn't have cameras at its entrance, so it's possible Sevier could have caught a ride out of the park. But park officials are focusing their efforts on the trails near the Yosemite Valley, where Sevier's campsite was next to the Merced River. Gettyman also said about 30 people, dogs, and a helicopter from the California Highway Patrol have been assisting with the search, and that flyers with Sevier's picture have been posted throughout the park. Now, he also said temperatures this week have been in the 70s during the day and dropping into the 30s at night. Time is crucial because Sevier likely ran out of food and water and was probably only wearing a t-shirt and shorts. So if he was just wearing that, and that means at 30 degrees, he's probably going to freeze to death, or he's going to contract hypothermia. You never know what's going to happen out there, especially if it'd be 70 degrees at night and 70 degrees in the daytime and 30 degrees at night. In places like California, that's a common thing. So when I went to California that one time when I was a kid, overcast came over the entire city in the middle of the summer. This was like June, and it was like 30 degrees the whole while we were there. I mean, we were only there for like maybe a couple of days. And we were supposed to be in there, I think, for 2 weeks. So, and it's where we was at in San Francisco, we was like right next to the ocean. So you can see the bay from, because like when you in San Francisco, you're standing on the sidewalk or in the street, and you're looking at the curvature of the hill that people be traveling on, and you look straight ahead and you see the ocean. It looks like a big old canvas, or like a wall, because that's just the way it is. Because you are on, California is very hilly, so any other area that you're looking at is gonna look like it's gonna be looking like a big wall, or like a wall painting or something like that. But anyway, okay. Now, while the park conducts about 200 search and rescue missions each year, it typically only has 2 or 3 that last more than a few days. Sevier, originally from Jacksonville, Florida, has been a duty Coordsman at the Naval Medical Center, Portsmouth, since September 9th of 2015. Yeah, folks, in a case like that, it is a very strange case. You go in and you don't come out, and that's probably the worst part about this entire case, because you don't know. You don't know, and the fact that the person went in there to have fun, do whatever it is they do, and they don't come back home or report back to duty makes this whole situation just a big upset. And not knowing is the worst part, like I said, because you can come up with all the ideas in the world, but if you don't have any proof as to why he disappeared, then you can't build a case. So therefore it goes unsolved. And with him, I think that's probably what's going to happen, because he just vanished without a trace. So, but yeah, I got another one for you. This one is about James Michael Millett Jr. Now, this is a young man whose body was found in Yosemite National Park. Hopefully, this is like one of those. Well, I won't say hopefully, but this might be one of those cases where they find the body. But if the body is, maybe the body was fresh, I'm not sure. This happened last year, but if they found the body, there's a good chance that he may have been partially clothed, and his body was probably dry as a bone, but in a moist area, like in mud, or his shoes were probably missing. Who knows? But as I get into it, hopefully that's what it's going to say. Well, I'm going to say hopefully. I don't know how that sounds, but anyway. Okay, now the body of a hiker who has been missing for 3 weeks was found by park rangers above Yosemite Valley on Tuesday. Now, this is according to the National Park Service. Let's see, with the National Park Service, you really can't trust anything they say, because they try to keep all this stuff secret, especially if it's a mysterious case of someone just being found dead out of the blue, or if someone just vanishes in their park. They don't want you to know everything. They don't want you to know anything at all. They'll have a video about it on the news, and they cut it, and they don't ever talk about it ever again. Okay, but let's see. Yosemite National Park rangers found the body of James Michael Millett Jr. on September 1st, 2015. The NPS wrote in a second statement released Thursday, 2 days after discovering a car that had been left at a popular trailhead parking lot for an extended period of time. Millett, 39, planned a day hike to Upper Yosemite Fall on August 11th. Park officials, and this is what the park officials said also. Okay, now the body was airlifted by helicopter from the North Dome area. The NPS statement reads, Millett, an experienced traveler, was currently living in the Bay Area. An investigation into his death is ongoing. Over the past few months, there have been several tragic incidents at national parks. Two young teens were killed after a tree limb fell on their tent at the campground in Yosemite. Ugh, that's not cool. According to the Orange County Register in Yellowstone, a man was killed by a grizzly bear while hiking. Killed, not eaten alive. Just so you people realize that they don't devour the human body like that. They'll kill you, they'll gnaw on you, and that's about it. Or he was probably protecting its territory. He may have had some cubs, or she could have been doing it, because he may have had some cubs in the area, and she was protecting her babies. You don't know, but it is what it is. But when you're out in the wild, you got to realize that most of these wild animals fear man, and some don't. So if they see somebody in the area where they're near their cubs, they're probably going to defend them in the worst possible way, and that means to kill you. That way, her cubs won't be, taken or killed, for pelts or whatever the case may be. But that's just, like I said, an educated guess, so I really don't know. But I have heard that before. But anyway, health officials also closed several campgrounds in Yosemite after evidence of the plague was found. Now, this is reported by the Los Angeles Times. Now, that the National Park Service has been issued a few hazards for visitors to be aware of when staying in the national parks. Now, according to the Great Smoky Mountains, venomous snakes and yellow jacket wasps There are 2 species of venomous snakes that live in the area. Although there have been no fatalities from snake bites recorded and very few bites occur, visitors should still be cautious. Yellow jacket wasps tend to build nests along trails and streams. Okay, well, this is your basic, national park information. But as far as the information about him goes, the fact that they found his body, that's all they've said about it. And this is over a year ago. So I would, I would love to get fill out a Freedom of Information Act form just to get the report, and that's only if I can. Now, this sounds like a mysterious case that they would want to keep secret because of the fact that he was found dead, and the fact that they didn't give any more information than what they had already given about him. You would think that there would be a little bit more information they would put out there. Just saying that they found his body and it was airlifted, to the nearest hospital. That's just saying that they found a body and they, did whatever. It doesn't speak of the autopsy report or anything. So that would mean that everything that David Paulides talked about when it comes to people disappearing in national parks or being found dead in a national park is true about this young man. He was probably found partially clothed, and he was probably face down in the mud, or face up, whichever comes first. He was probably in just a shirt and his boxers and his socks. His shoes were probably missing, or maybe his clothing was folded neatly on a log right next to him, and the shoes were probably just missing. And that really makes you think, why would you take the shoes? Because the shoes don't have any meaning towards you. I mean, yeah, they have your DNA in it, especially when it comes to sweaty feet and all that stuff. So I would think that would be the reason why they would take the shoes. Or if he was to get away, he would have a hard time getting away with no shoes on his feet. He would have to walk over branches, rocks, all kinds of stuff. Maybe even some, what do you call that? Excrement, like animal excrement or even some human excrement. You never know. But like I said, it's anybody's guess as what happened to this young man, and just the fact that nobody really knows what happened to him, and or if not so much that nobody knows, that they're not giving any information about it. So that part right there is maybe the worst part. Now, I was actually supposed to be reading about Peter Jackson, but this information about James Michael Millett came up, so I don't know how I ended up looking at that when I was supposed to be looking at the one about about that other guy. So let me punch that up real quick, because I'm surprised that I couldn't find it, even though I thought I clicked on it, but apparently not. Because it says right here, Peter Jackson, and when I looked it up, the other thing came up. Okay, so let me go back to this and see if I can get something on him. That's Facebook, though. I don't know how much information it's going to have, on him. Let's see. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see. This is really wonky, because it just switched to another page and I didn't even select it. It's weird. This thing is really acting up. I really gotta I gotta do something with this darn computer, because it's really getting crazy. Okay, let me punch in Peter Jackson. I had all this set up, but it just went out on me for some reason. Okay, let me go. Peter Jackson missing. I hope I can punch it up without my computer acting up. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's really acting kind of wonky right now. I may have to make that my next video, so I'm going to put that one aside for right now, and that'll be my next video. So I'll make those two my main videos, and I'll come back at you one about Peter Jackson as soon as I can get my computer acting right. So that's gonna be it for this segment, guys. Really want to thank you guys for watching today, and I will come back at you once again, and I'll have some more for you. So without further ado, Aloha, mahalo, and ahuiho. Peace out, guys.